Okay. Hello, everybody. This is a tutorial on how to get a job. All right. Before I even start, I want to really get into the importance of a job. Like, a lot of people think they're just going to go online and make a shit ton of money with literally absolutely no practice in learning how to work in a team environment, learning how to operate a job, learning how to basically be a slave, to be honest with you, because when you go and get a job, someone is hiring you for a certain amount of money every hour to do whatever they say. All right, no matter if it's copywriting, no matter if it's just a basic McDonald's job, whatever the job entails, you will have to be able to do whatever they say, and you have to mentally prepare yourself to do this. So you really do need to let your ego go away. You just need to embrace the fact that you're a slave for the 8 hours that you're getting paid. All right. And I don't think really a lot of people understand this when they go into a job. So that's why a lot of people get fired or they quit. You are literally being hired to be a slave. So be a slave. That's the best thing I could give to you. All right. And for here, hold up. Give me 1 second. All right. So right now, I have made 33 principles for you guys to know and to learn and to practice every single day to get a job. Not only just to get the job, but to also maintain the job too. All right. I've already vouched to you the importance of a job. You need money to buy things. You know what I mean? Like, you already know this. Like, you already know that a job is needed to get money to invest and start businesses. All right. So, starting off is number one. You need to be confident. When you go into a job interview, they're looking for someone who knows what they're doing. Like, if you go into the job and you act like you do not know what the fuck is going on, even if you don't know what's going on, if you act like it, they won't hire you. It's just they have so many other options constantly that already have experience. And if you have no experience with the job, they will just let you go. You need to seem like you're confident at what you're doing. The second thing is stay curious. So I've noticed a lot of my jobs have always rewarded curiosity in the sense that if I am curious, I am figuring out new ways to benefit their system. They are hiring employees to not only save them time, but to save them money and effort. All right. All these three things are very important to an employer. And if you can save them effort, that is the most important thing you can save. All right. They're already paying you for your time. A third thing is to be reliable. See, the thing is, if you're reliable, people will always count on you to do things done, and they will trust you because of the fact that you have consistently done things over and over and over and over and over. Now, there's a bunch of different ways you can show doing this. Being on time to work is very important. Showing that you can be on time to things in general, showing that you consistently do things like work out every day, that's a big thing for employers when they look for someone when they want to hire. Fourth thing, all right, is a positive attitude. If you have a positive attitude towards anything, literally anything, people could be shit talking you and yelling in your face, like how people do at my job. Like, I work at McDonald's and people yell at me all the time, but I always respond in a positive manner because even if someone is being overly aggressive with you, you have to realize that a positive environment shows to customers that this is a happy place to work in, even if they're being rude. So it will bring down the situation to a manageable level, and then you can talk to someone in a non emotionally triggered way. Fifth thing you need to do is take initiative. A lot of people, when they get employed, they're thinking, okay, well, since I'm getting employed and since this is my employer, I shouldn't do anything unless they tell me to do. If you notice something needs to be done, just do it. For instance, when I used to work at Culver's, for example, sauces used to run out, products needed to be stocked constantly. So instead of saying, hey, does this need to be stocked? I would just go do it. And that helped me out tons in keeping my job and also just maintaining a solid relationship with my manager. The sixth thing you need to do, I don't know why I keep putting up three. It's just a nice little hand gesture. But the sixth thing you need to do is get a resume. So I'm going to show you my resume. My resume is pretty decent, but the thing is, most of you don't have experience like I do. Like, for instance, I have experience in working in mental health environments. I have skills like marketing, and I know how to optimize websites. I know how to build websites. I know how to sell products online. It's what I do for my free time. But a lot of you don't have these types of things and skills that, I have. So, what I've put on here, oh, don't make me fucking spill on myself here. But what I've put on here, right, is my jobs. I have a summary of what I've done. I have my experience, and then I have my education. And then I also have skills. So let's say what I have is cooking. I know how to cook very well. That is very helpful for if you're trying to get a chef job, if you're just trying to get a job where you need to cook food. Time management. Time management is also a skill that everybody can learn. If you learn how to schedule out your days, you know how to manage your time. Marketing. I'm excellent at marketing. Auto mechanics. I know how to fix cars. I know risk management when it comes to trading and just overall like understanding how risky a situation can be and trying to calm it down. I know how to code at a decent level. I know how to sell things, and I know how to evaluate the market when it comes to trading. So these are all skills that an employer will look for, even if you aren't getting that specific job. Like, I don't have a job as a day trader. I just day trade. You know what I mean? So it's a skill that I have. And if I went to a job where, let's say, a bank, for instance, I need to look at the stock market. I needed to know risk management. I needed to know when to pull out the market, when to put in money, how to recommend certain stocks to people. These are very important skills for you to just know and have. All right. So when it comes to a resume, people are usually looking for skills or qualities you have as a person that will benefit their company, such as time management, risk management, and just overall evaluation of your surroundings and knowing how to react. All right. So the sixth thing is the seventh thing that it's going to be is practice interviews. So when you're interviewing people get really nervous. Like, people have a tendency to cower up, to sit there and just kind of say and I don't know, look off to the side. Like, you need to practice interviewing somebody. And the best thing that you can practice is practicing the questions that are going to be asked during the interview. And since I've went through a couple of interviews already, I'll give you a breakdown on a couple common questions that usually pop up. So, a lot of questions that usually pop up, I'll give you six, is can you tell me about yourself? So, you need to sit there and really realize what qualities you have as a person. Like, are you very helpful to people? Are you very helpful towards people? Like, can you talk to them in a very simplistic way? Can you describe things in a very simplistic manner? Also, things like, I work out a lot. Just tell me about you. You need to be good at talking about yourself. I know it sounds cocky and egotistical, but you really do need to do this because it is a question that they always ask is tell me about yourself. Another thing is why do you want to work here? Now, the best tip I have is when I went for any job interview anywhere is I always look up that company. I look up what their morals are, what the purpose of their company is, what they're looking for in employers. Sometimes I'll even ask former employees that work there currently, what are the skills that I need and why do you work here? You know what I mean? Like, what are the things that the managers are looking for in a person, and what have you noticed? This is genuinely such a big help when it comes to going to the job interview and breaking down how you're going to be effective for the company. Everybody, including employers, wants people to help them out. So if you know what they want help with, you're already halfway there. You know what I mean? Also, is what is your strengths? This is another question that they will ask constantly. What are your strengths? What are you good at? Some form of this question. So write down on a piece of paper, what are you good at? Genuinely. Like, you can put it on your resume, but on paper, on a separate piece of paper, write down what you're good at and then figure out how am I going to communicate this to the interviewer. Practice talking to the mirror. Practice just saying the sentence over and over again. Get your vocal cords working to describe yourself. Because if it's all mental, you won't know how to say it when the actual time comes to shine. Another thing is not only are your strengths, but what are your weaknesses? They want you to be honest about yourself. How realistic are you? Because not everybody is perfect, right? Everybody knows this. But what are your weaknesses? And to be honest, you don't want to give yourself up as someone who is very weak, but you want to be able to say you have weaknesses that you are going to be able to improve on. Like, let's say you're bad at talking. I am not a very good communicator, but as the days go on, I will try to get better at communicating. I am not very good with POS systems. POS systems are point of service systems that every business is used. Some things like Square. I know y'all have seen Square around, or if you're at McDonald's, the cash register. That's literally all it is, POS. Let's say you aren't good at using those systems. You can be like, okay, well, I'm not very knowledgeable in working POS systems, but as the days go on, I will actively improve on using your specific POS system. Shit like that. It is very, very effective when it comes down to talking to managers because they see that you are actively working towards their goal. Another thing is, have you solved a problem? Literally. Have you solved a problem? Have you had a conflict with your relationship and you have diffused the situation? Have you had friends who have been cheated on and you calmed them down? Have you built projects online? Do you know how to mop a floor? Has shit clean been spilled on the floor and you know how to mop it? Just any single problem. They are looking for reasons they can hire you. And if it is a low end job, go for low end solutions. If it is a high end job, go for high end solutions. Know your audience, please. Another question they always ask, and this is usually at the end, is do you have any questions for us? See, this is kind of a trick question because a lot of people get here and they're like, well, I probably shouldn't ask any questions about my payment because I don't want to seem greedy. Like, no, all right? The questions you need to ask is like, what do you most enjoy working? Like, what makes you enjoy working here? Show enthusiasm that you want to work here and why you would want to work here. What successful qualities do you see in employees that you have? Shit like that. This literally rubs off such a good impression on your employers. Like, these are such good questions and such good answers that everybody who has ever got employed will tell you that they use. I'm telling you, if you just follow this, you will get a job. All right. So, the eighth principle that you have to understand before even applying for a job is, like I said, understanding your strengths. Like, it is genuinely the most important part about your job. Because if you don't know what you're good at, they don't know what you're good at, and you're not going to get hired. All right. Also, the ninth principle that I have for you guys is how to build references. All right. So when you're applying for a job, they are looking for someone who has experience, obviously. But if you don't have any experience, they're looking for someone who is looking for experience. So let's say, for instance, you want to work at Foot Locker, all right? You start going up to the employees at Foot Locker and start asking for references. Be like, I want to work at this Foot Locker, and I don't know how to get started. I need your help with me. And as the employee, he's gonna be like, okay, this is gonna take time away from my shift. Of course, I'll help this dude. You know what I mean? So he'll go over and you'll have a little conversation. And even if you don't get an application or a response that day, at least you built a relationship with the employee. So now, when you come to talk with the manager of Foot Locker, they can say, oh, he talked to this employee. And then you can say, oh, I talked to this employee. And then she'll go ask. And he'll be like, oh, yeah, he did talk to me. This is very important in the sense that you're actively trying to build a relationship with people who are knowledgeable in the department you don't know. It it shows a lot. It really does. And to the employer, they love it. Also, you need to set realistic goals. This is the 10th principle. And you can't like sit there and say you're the best at everything. You can't. They're gonna look at you like you're egotistical and you're a dumbass and whatever. Like, this dude's just trying to be the shit and he's such a know-it-all. Happens to me all the time. All right. You need to set realistic goals. All right. Because me and you both know that we are probably gonna be millionaires, especially if you're sitting there watching this course. All right. But you need to understand that in the eyes of an employer who is probably 40, he hasn't seen $100,000, bro. He really hasn't. So for you to sit there and be like, well, I have skills that are worth $100,000, whoa, 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 they're not gonna fucking listen. All right, they don't care. All they want you to do is set realistic goals. So let's say you go to, let's just say, JC Penney. All right, JC Penney is hiring. You go in there and you notice that JC Penney is falling off as a clothing company, and in this specific location you will say, look, as an employee, I've noticed that your your customers and the reputation that you have at JC Penney's has went down. And I believe that my positive attitude and my commitment to your job will genuinely help the customers and the experience that people will have at JC Penney. And they will look at you and be like, oh, okay, bet. Literally, it happens every time. You see it in their eyes. They're like, oh. And I promise you, if you just set realistic goals to these employers, they will hire you. A lot of people also out there, this is the 11th principle, by the way. A lot of people will go out and try to look for jobs everywhere. Like, don't start off doing that. Start local, all right? Go to your local ice cream parlor, go to your local barber, go to your local restaurant and apply for jobs there. Those people know you, you're local, you have easy transportation. So that's another factor you don't have to include into how you're going to be able to get to work. Being local is just better. You get to connect with the customers on such a deeper level because you go through the same trials and tribulations that they go through on a day-to-day basis. And your employers will be way more understanding of you because they're from the same place as you. Another thing that has helped me a lot is networking. So I won't always go out and, just go to a job and apply. I will always ask people who have worked at those type of jobs what the job entails. Like if you don't know what the job entails and you have no knowledge about it, there's no point of applying. So the key thing, number 12, is networking. Always, always, always network before you get a job. Even if you listen to this video, like go network and go find people who have worked in that field and talk to them. All right. 13 and 14 are kind of the same concept, but if local jobs don't work, Indeed and these apps for finding jobs sometimes work. Sometimes I've seen a lot of people just apply to jobs and jobs and jobs and get no responses whatsoever. All right. So Indeed is really not the best place to find a job. But what I would recommend is using the company's website. Now, the company's website is very, very specific and niches down. They check it very often. Even the owner of that company will check it very often. So when you're using the personal website of that company, you will get a better response rate. Another thing you guys need to know, all right, those were 12 and 13. We're on 14 now. No, wait, those were 13 and 14. Now we're on 15. Is follow up. So, what you want to do after applying to a job is call them. I don't care if it's in the next minute. I don't care if it's in the next 5 minutes. I don't even care if it's in the next 12 hours. As long as it's in the same 24-hour period of you applying for that job, you need to call them because they're not going to recognize your fucking little application from a 17-year-old going through. You need to call them and call them and call them and call them and call them. That is the only way I've ever gotten a job is because I spam called those motherfuckers. I swear to God, that is the one thing I have done consistently with every single job is spam call them motherfuckers because they won't just look at your application. You have to go and talk to them. Be like, look at my application. I put an application in. When am I getting a response on my application? Questions, 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 talking, talking. That is the most important thing. You are not going to get a job if you do not talk to them. All right. Number 16, dress neatly when you go to your interview. Don't go like this, right? I'm making a video right now, so I'm dressed like a hippie, right? But don't fucking go to the interview like this. They're not gonna fucking hire you, dumbass. Go in a nice suit. Go and you don't even have to get a suit. Put on some nice pants. Put on your nice little shirt and go out looking presentable. Maybe even do your hair. All right. Put some smell goods on. Literally just clean the fuck up. I watch so many people. I've seen it with my own eyes. They go to interviews in bummy ass clothes. It is the most irritating thing to watch as someone who knows how to get a job. Because it's like, I know for a fact you're not going to get hired. And even if you do get hired, they won't trust you. You don't look presentable. So look presentable. Please, please. People fuck up on this all the time. Number 17 is be polite and respectful. Now, I could talk to you like this because I'm teaching you how to get a job and y'all already know me and this is how y'all receive information. Me cussing at you and fucking yelling at your head. All right? But when you're going to a job interview, you want to be professional. First of all, you want to talk like this. You want to speak very almost monotone when not talking about very enthusiastic topics. You want to be very formal, you want to be very professional and use no swear words, don't say ums and ahs. Just be very polite and respectful, especially to your manager. And this is going to help so much, like so much with getting a job. Like all of these things have helped me so much. That's why I made this course. You know what I mean? Also, a lot of y'all, this is number 18, because it is very important. A lot of y'all be giving loosey goosey ass handshakes. All right, ain't nobody got time for no loosey goosey ass handshake. All right, nobody's trying to fucking play with a noodle. All right, give a firm handshake. Grab their hand. Don't fucking yank it, but grab their hand. Make sure your hand doesn't move. All right, none of this like crinkling in between the fingers when they grab it. Make sure your hand is solid and shake once or twice. Don't fucking do boom. Like just shake. Boom. Now you got the handshake over. This goes so far because a lot of people don't understand that physical touch is a big receptor when establishing a connection with somebody. If someone is very loose and open, it makes them seem fragile. And you don't want to seem fragile. You want to seem like a solid rock, something that can be there for a long time. You understand what I'm saying? Number 19 is smile and make eye contact when you're giving handshakes and when you're just talking to people in general. This goes back to, I think, number five, where, no, number four, where we're talking about having a positive attitude. Like when you have a positive attitude and you're looking at them in your eye and smiling, people are more open to just being open with you. To be honest with you, they'll be more calm. They'll bring their anxiety down. They'll feel comfortable. They'll want to talk to you. It builds a better environment in the workspace so you don't have to deal with that fucking drama. Because I promise you, in your job, you don't want to deal with drama. I promise you, bro. Also, number 20, speak clearly. I've, I've said this multiple times. Don't say ums and ahs. But when you're speaking clearly, right, people can pay attention to what the fuck you're saying. If you're going, so basically, like no one wants to listen to that shit, bro. Just speak clearly. Just speak in a manner that can get the point across. And if you haven't practiced this already in your day to day life, you need to. Don't use ums and ahs. Don't use long thinking noises. If anything, just be silent when you're thinking. That is the best advice, bro. Like just be silent. There's a couple times in this video already where I had to think about what I was gonna say and just sat there in silence. It's not that hard. Also, 21 is learn basic customer service. So think about how you would want to be treated as a customer. Like imagine walking up to a McDonald's and having like the best interaction with a McDonald's employee. Think about it. Think about what that can be and then be that, embody that. You need to learn how to be helpful also when it comes to customer service. A lot of people will ask you to do shit that you don't want to do. Happens all the time. They'll be like, "Hey, Andre, can you go get ketchup? Andre, can you go clean the bathrooms? They're dirty. Andre, the drink station is all messy and I'm complaining about it." You need to learn how to handle those situations in a friendly manner. Be like, "Okay, I will do that." That's it. That's it. Literally. 22, it goes back. A lot of these rules are just going back over the same shit because they are very, very, very important. But practice time management. So when it comes to managing your time, I would say don't. I mean, you can use timers and alarms, but just constantly look at the clock. To be honest with you, figure out what time it is. Constantly be aware of what time it is. Constantly being aware of what time it is will give you a mental graph on how you're doing. I'm doing so many things per 5 minutes. I'm doing so many things per 30 minutes. I'm doing so many things per hour. These will give you the skills to be able to get a raise, to be honest with you. So when you practice time management and you know what you're doing in a certain time period, you can approach it to an employer and be like, "Look, I've been doing this many things per hour. I've been doing this many more things than other people per hour. I'm working really hard. I'm very enthusiastic about my job. I'm always polite and respectful to customers. I've also noticed that you've had a 32% increase on your income this month. I would appreciate if I could get a raise." Boom. That's it. Knowing how to practice time management will literally give you the skills you need to do, will give you the skills you need to get a raise. That is the most important skill. 23 is understanding teamwork. If you don't understand how to work in a team environment, you're going to be fucked because you always work in a fucking team environment. You know what I mean? Like, you're never gonna be employed by yourself. Like, at most, you'll be working like at least one other person, the person who fucking employs you, right? So it is very important for you to understand how teams work. You need to be able to. We've been practicing this in school, to be honest with you. We've practiced doing projects together, practiced talking to people, interacting with people, being friendly with people. You need to understand how teams work. Also, 24, very important, be teachable. Nobody likes a fucking know it all. And if you're sitting there like you know it all, they're gonna fucking be very annoyed of you. Like extremely annoyed of you. Like you're gonna be like, I'm just gonna let this guy go. I can't teach the nigga anything. He keeps doing things wrong and I don't want him to do it this way. And I keep telling him to do it and he always just says, I know how to do it already. And like he doesn't actually understand what I'm saying. Be teachable. Please. Like if you don't know how to be taught something, you're gonna be fucked when it comes to getting hired, genuinely, or keeping the job. Also, I think you need to write a strong cover letter. This is 25. Explain why you want the job.